The latest economic forecast for BC is a familiar one. We can expect modest growth over the next couple of years, but nothing to write home about. The Economic Forecast Council says the economy will grow by 2.1% this year and 2.5% next year. And for the first time in a long time, some good news might come from south of the border. Jazz Johal reports.
Compared to many parts of the world, BC and Canada have been spared the extreme challenges after the financial crisis. Our economy has muddled through compared to what taxpayers have faced in Greece and the United States. In a struggling global economy, the chief economist of the Bank of Montreal says we still remain a popular place to invest.
Investors globally see Canada now as a bit of a golden child, and they are pouring their money into Canada, whether it's into our bonds, our stocks, or even our real estate. Canadian investors do like Canada as a nice diversification away from the problems in the US and Europe and Japan. They do like our AAA credit rating, and that's why the Canadian dollar is about 10 cents overvalued.
There's still plenty of headwinds that BC has to worry about. Weak export demand from Asia, and more importantly, a slowing local housing market. House prices dropped 6% last year, and according to Douglas Porter, prices could drop another 10% this year in Vancouver. It'll be at best a correction, not the bursting of a bubble. Interest rates aren't heading up anytime soon.
Inflation's less than 1%, growth is barely above 1%. There's no pressure on Canadian interest rates.
And even if when they do move up, there's not going to be that dramatic move, is there?
No, it will be very gradual. We think they do start to rise in 2014, but even then it's going to be a very deliberate, slow process of very gradual interest rate increases.
Those low rates mean Canadians have been piling on debt. Mortgage rules have been toughened in the past 6 months, but high debt levels still remain a concern in BC.
We also see in some cases exceptionally high accumulated credit card debt and other consumer credit debt. People feel good in British Columbia. There's a cautious optimism building here, but we also want to ensure that, like any family, it's sustainable. And so that balance is important.
But it's not all bad news, particularly for BC's interior. The housing market in the U.S. is finally improving, and BC's forest industry will be one of the first to benefit.
I am perhaps a touch more optimistic, particularly on the forestry side, than some, and it's based on the recovery of the housing industry in the U.S. and the volume that we're sending into China, which is about 30% of our total volume now.
So we're in the midst of a recovery, albeit slow and muddled. Even so, our finance minister does make one promise for next month's provincial budget. Balanced budget. When you present the budget, I guess next month, it'll be balanced?
Budget will be balanced. Period.